Hello lovely beaders. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to show you one of my simplest CRAW earrings. Basic technique transformed into jewelry. In the first part of my video I want to show you how I make the cubic right angle weave. This technique requires a lot of attention and a little 3D vision. I try to explain and show the basics clearly, but please be patient. String 4 pieces of seed beads. For showing this technique I use size 8 seed beads. They are bigger and I think I can show you better the beading with this size. Pull the beads down your thread and put a double knot to make a circle with the beads. Step out from the first bead. I want you to imagine a box that has a bottom, a top, and 4 sides. Each side is made with 4 beads. This first circle is the bottom of that box. Now we need to make the first side of the box. String 3 pieces of seed beads and go through the bead from the bottom circle. This way you have in total of 4 beads. And like I said, every side has 4 beads. Now you have 2 circles that has a shared bead. One is the bottom circle and the other is a side circle. To start the second side, go through the second bead from your bottom circle. String 2 pieces of seed beads and go through the bead from your first side and the bead from the bottom circle. This way you will pull your first circle in place. This side will now be perpendicular to the bottom of the box. Now you have the bottom circle and 2 sides of the box. To start the third side, go through the third bead from your bottom circle. String 2 pieces of seed beads and go through the bead from your second side and the bead from the bottom circle. The box is almost done. You need to finish the 4th side. To finish the 4th side, go through the last bead from your bottom circle. What you need to see is that the 4th side has already 3 beads. 1 from the first side, 1 from the third side, and 1 from the bottom. So you will need to go up in the bead from the first side. String 1 piece of seed bead and go through the bead from your third side, the bead from the bottom circle, and the bead from the first side. Now you have all the sides of that box. Every side has 4 beads. The last step is to reinforce the top of the box by going through the beads. And now you have a finished cube. Every side has 4 beads and only 4 beads. When I was learning to make the cubic right angle weave, I think it was 2008, sometimes I made my cube with 5 sides or the sides with 3 or 5 beads. But believe me, with a little practice it is learnable. And now let's make another cube on top of this cube. Think of the top of your first cube as the bottom of your second cube. String 3 pieces of seed beads and go through the bead from the bottom circle. Go through the second bead from your bottom circle. String 2 pieces of seed beads and go through the bead from your first side and the bead from the bottom circle. Go through the third bead from your bottom circle. String 2 pieces of seed beads and go through the bead from your second side and the bead from the bottom circle. To make the 4th side, go through the last bead from your bottom circle and the bead from the first circle. String 1 piece of seed bead and go through the bead from your third side, the bead from the bottom circle, and the bead from the first side. Reinforce the top of the box by going through the beads. And you have 2 finished cubes. The easiest way to count your cubes is to count the beads on the sides. You have 1 bead per cube side, so if you count 2 beads you have 2 cubes. And now let's make the earring. Start making a basic cube. String 4 pieces of seed beads to make the bottom circle. Put a double knot to make a circle with the beads. Step out from the first bead. String 3 pieces of seed beads and go through the bead from the bottom circle to make the first side of the box. Go through the second bead from your bottom circle. String 2 pieces of seed beads and go through the bead from your first side and the bead from the bottom circle. This is the second side. Go through the third bead from your bottom circle. String 2 pieces of seed beads and go through the bead from your second side and the bead from the bottom circle. Go through the last bead from your bottom circle and the bead from your first side. String 1 piece of seed bead and go through the bead from your third side and the bead from the bottom circle. Go up to the top of the box to reinforce the beads in that circle. And now you have a finished cube. Start another cube on top of this cube. The top of your first cube will be the bottom of your second cube. I will speed up parts of the beading to not bore you, because you will need to do 15 cubes before we start closing the tube into a circle. Don't forget that you can slow it down by clicking on the cogwheel icon and selecting the speed you want. The second cube is finished. The third cube is finished. The fourth cube is finished. The fifth cube is finished. The sixth cube is finished. The seventh cube is finished. The eighth cube is finished. The ninth cube is finished. The 10th cube is finished. The 11th cube is finished. The The 12th cube is finished. The 13th cube is finished. The 14th cube is finished. And the 15th cube is finished. Let's count again. Count the side beads. They need to be 15 in total. Thread the tail, hide it in the tube and cut it. And now the difficult step begins. We need to close the circle with one more cube to obtain a round bezel. Place the two ends next to each other. Make sure the tube is not twisted. The bead where you step out with the thread is a bead from your bottom circle and the end of the tube will be your top circle. So we need to do the sides of the box. Your first side has two beads already. The bead that you step out and the bead the top circle. So pick up one bead and go through the bead from the top circle. Pick up one more bead and go through the bead from the bottom circle. I hope you see the new circle between the two ends. Go through the next bead from the bottom circle. Start the second side. Now you have 3 beads, so you would need one last bead to make a circle. Pick up one bead and go through the top circle bead, the first side bead and the bottom circle bead. So far I've been able to show you quite well where to go and what you need to do. But now I need to pull the two ends together so that the beads stay in the good position. Now it will be more difficult to show you how to make the last two sides. Go through the third bead from the bottom circle. For the third side you have 3 beads. Pick up one bead and go through the top circle, the second side and the bottom circle beads. For the last side you have all the 4 beads in place, you just need to reinforce them. Go through the last bead from the bottom circle, the bead from the first side, the bead from the top circle and the third side's bead. And the round bezel is finished. The beads are looking a little bit chaotic for now, but just wait for the next row. This bezel has now 2 inside and 2 outside rows. Lead your thread to one of the inside rows and just go through the beads and pull the thread to obtain a tight row. The rivoli will sit on this row, so make sure you go through all the beads. I need a new thread, so I put some double knots on my thread and I will go through some beads before I cut it. I will attach my new thread by putting a double knot and weaving in the tail in the tube. My new thread is attached. Put the rivoli inside the bezel and step out from a bead from the second inside row. String size 15 seed beads between the beads from the inside row. Now that we have a moment, I'd love to ask for your support. If you enjoyed this video and found it valuable, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving it a thumbs up. Sharing my knowledge here is completely free, but to keep things going and continue providing helpful content, I rely on your support. Your engagement helps the channel grow and reach more people, so thank you for being a part of this journey. If you'd like to go even further, you can buy me a coffee, or check out my tutorials and jewelry pieces. Links are in the description. Thanks for all your help. When I attached my new thread, I didn't switch needles, and my needle is size 10. It is a struggle to go through the size 15 seed beads with this needle, so I will switch needles. Make another row with size 15 seed beads. Pull the thread to make a tight row. I don't know why, but my camera lost focus for a while. But it's an easy row, just go around with the size 15 seed beads. This earring is a very basic pattern. I thought I would show it to you to teach you the CRAW technique with it. Once you've become comfortable with the CRAW technique, you'll be ready to try more intricate and advanced designs. If you want, I will be bringing you challenging patterns to continue developing your skills. The bezel is finished. The rivoli should stay safely inside. But if your rivoli is still moving, string a third row with the size 15 seed beads. Or just go through the last row again and pull the thread tight. I just went through a few beads so that the thread wouldn't come loose. Lead your thread to a bead from the outside row from the front. String 3 mm bicones between the beads from the outside row. Be aware that the bicones are sharp, and if you pull the thread they can cut your thread. Be gentle in this row. The CRAW technique is my second favorite technique. The first is, of course, peyote. But CRAW is also a special and very versatile technique. These cubes can be used in so many different ways to make a piece of jewelry that the possibilities are almost endless. Among my plans, there will be simple patterns that are still elegant and sophisticated, as well as more complex designs for those who love a challenge. I'm also planning to show you how to make a more complex pendant and show you another earring design for you to try. Which plan of mine are you looking forward the most? The earring is almost finished. It was easy, don't you think? We need a bead loop to have a hanger for the earring hook. Step out from a bicone and string 7 pieces of size 11 seed beads and go through the bicone again to make a circle with the beads. Reinforce this loop by going through the beads again. Finish your thread by putting some double knots on it and go through some beads before you cut it. Attach the earring hook. You finished your earring. I hope you found it neither too easy nor too difficult to make. And that's the end of today's video. If you watched it and liked it, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for spending time with me. See you next week.